I've seen everything. I've seen stuff that makes you lose your appetite. I think money drives everyone to do the right or wrong thing. Coming from a criminal background and growing up with criminals, I can see through people's little demons. I know where they're going. I know how tough people are. I'm a debt collector. I'm a real debt collector, Dave. I had one job where the debtor wouldn't attend to the front door. The car was on the street. I called the tow truck. I kept knocking on the door, trying the mobile phone numbers that I had on file. No answer. The lights were on inside the premises, except no one would answer the door. I can hear and see shadows, and I understand that people were home. I knocked on the neighbours' doors. It was a community of Koreans. It was hard to confirm if these people were the actual tenants, but I confirmed that the car was mine. So I said, I'll go with the car. We took the car. I told the tow truck driver, just take it. We dragged it, salvaged it on, and left with the car. I then made my way to my vehicle. I got in my car. I was using the navigator, punching in the second address, of the evening. And I've been hit. I didn't feel getting struck. I was knocked out with one punch, I think. And I've woken up, there's no keys in my ignition, and my jaw's fucking killing me. So I've been hit in the mouth. So these guys have come to the side of the car and just given me a fucking nice bash in, taken the keys from my car. I think it was sort of like, you took my car, I'll take the keys from your car. I've exited my car, there's no one around, and I knew, it's just something was telling me they came from that house. Obviously, it's the people that I've been knocking on their door. So I went back, knock, 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 knock. Kept going crazy, yelling and screaming, where the fuck's my car keys? I've called the police. These guys have opened the door and straight away start to assault me. I used my baton. They both were taken away in the ambulance. And I found my car keys in one of their pants. And thanks God, not one of them spoke English, so it wasn't hard beating them with the police. There was only one side of the story which was mine. The other one was fucking just yelling and screaming from pain. I was born in Sydney. I think that was King Street, Newtown, in the back of an ambulance. My dad states that he reckons he was behind the ambulance in his taxi when they popped the back open and they said, your son's here. And then I stopped breathing, so they quickly rushed me to hospital. There's a bit of a story, a couple of photos of me in the incubator, being born and that. I grew up in Croydon Park, Kempsey, Burwood area. I've been here all my life. I spent a lot of time in the Cross, in the city. I spent a lot of time kicked out of home growing up. Growing up, they were the best suburbs. They were the best suburbs in the world, Dave. We got a big Wok community. There was a lot of Lebanese, there was a lot of Italians, a lot of Greeks. Me and my brothers, we used to ride our bikes. We were in and out of Cook's River growing up. We ran terror on the streets. I think, Dave, we didn't have enough attention from our families. I think we sort of relied on each other and we did what we knew. We were always searching to be cool. It was just the thing to do, Dave. We never went home. We didn't go to school much, so we used to, jig school or take off school early and walk around and see where the day would take us. 12 to 13 years old. I'd come home like 9, 10 o'clock at night and cop a flogging from my dad, and I was happy about it because I had such a story to tell. The next day, what we done. Then we get groups together and do it all together. Everything was fun for us, Dave, on our own. Apart from going to school and doing the right thing. There wasn't no good times at school, apart from asking to go to the toilet and robbing people's bags for lunches and that. In a nice way, I wasn't robbing assets and that. I was looking for poppers, bags of chips. I was smart in my own mind, David. I knew what was going on. I was quite awake. But in reality, I didn't know how to read or write. I was scared of the teacher in a sense where I used to dodge them, where they used to ask, like, where they used to point at the next student and say, could you read the next paragraph? That was my biggest nightmare. I'd be under a desk hiding when there was reading times going on. And then I fell behind and I couldn't catch up. I didn't have anybody to help me, Dave. I used to look for someone that actually would, give me a bit of time, but he was still learning himself, whoever it was in my class. So I couldn't get that help. It was not like I was embarrassed. I just couldn't get that help. I just couldn't find it. I left school. I didn't even know how to read. That's the truth. We raised ourselves, Dave. Our parents came from Lebanon. They were learning how to speak English. My dad was good. My mum was still an illiterate in a sense. So parent-teachers days and all that stuff at school, that shit didn't work with us growing up. We came from that generation where our parents were learning themselves. My dad didn't play much of a role as a father figure. He's always been on top of my head. Maybe because maybe I remind him of himself, maybe. My dad used to restrict me and try to be tough and give me the flogging every now and then. It wasn't easy.
What's a flogging like?
A flogging from the old man, the Lebanese building? They're pretty hard, Dave. He'd freak you out, scare the fuck out of you, and then come back and give you $100 and say, go get something from the shop to cheer you up. After a while, you'd look forward to the flogging, knowing you're going to get paid in a while. So they were good. It was good. So that's where it pretty much started. We did what we had to do, in a sense. We still had school to attend to, but we still wanted that extra money. I think money drives everyone to do the right or wrong thing, Dave. I'm the sort of guy that wants a result. I want the car. I want more work from the banks. I want the banks to say, this guy's getting us results. Now, I'm the guy that fixes accounts. I think the taxi ones were good because they kind of fell on my lap in a sense where my dad's in the taxi business, my brother's in the taxi business. This taxi was always on the road. We couldn't get a residential address at any given time. No one could get this taxi. No one in Sydney could get this taxi if it wasn't for me. There's no chance in hell. I asked my dad, who's in the taxi business, how many cabs has this Lebanese guy got? He said he's got about 3. And I said, can I get his details? Can I get the driver's details at least? I need to locate the driver of this cab. So I called him and I said, how are you, brother? He says, good. He was a Lebanese driver too. He says, where are you going, brother? I said, I'm going to Mona Vale. Then I'm going back to the airport. He says, where are you now? I said, I'm in Belfield. He thought to himself, Friday afternoon, what a hell of a job. Easy $200-300 job, he would love it. He came straight over, picked me up. So I said to him, look, just before we head over towards, the north side, I need you to go to Belmore Pickles Auctions. This is where we store the cars and where the cars go for repossession. I said, I got to go there, stop past my work, pick up my bag. And he said, no problem. He drove towards Harp Street. I've text messaged the security guards there. I said, open up those boom gates. I'm coming in with a taxi. And he drives in, this guy. As soon as he walked in, the boom gates closed. He starts freaking out. I've jumped out of the car, walked to the driver, and I said, pull out those keys and hand them over and step out of the car. And he looked at me and he just couldn't believe what I'd done to him and how I convinced him. I used him to get there. So then I called my mum. I said, Mum, come pick me up. I'm just down the road at Belmore Pickles. She's come and this guy wouldn't shut up. He's going to me, you fucking tricked me, you bastard. You fucking with his Lebanese accent. He said, you fucking shifty Lebanese. You fucking this, you fucking that. I said, mate, relax. I'll sort you out. I felt bad for him. It was Friday night. My dad's a cabbie. I gave him a few $100 and I told him to get in the car. I drove him home with my mum. I've done a few funny ones like that where I've actually repossessed the car and the tow truck at the same time. So I've used the tow truck driver to repossess a car for me. Then I've got them both in the auction yard and I've closed the gates on both of them. If you were to go by the book, exactly, by the book, you'd get nowhere. I do things my way. It's a bit different. I haven't seen anybody do it my way. Do this long enough, it becomes part of your lifestyle. It becomes part of your DNA. Yeah, I'm a debt collector. I'm a real debt collector, Dave. Being a debt collector means you're out on your own. You're thinking on your own. You're jumping in your own car. You're driving out to people's addresses on your own. You've got to be ready for the worst. I've spent my whole life on the streets of Sydney, so I understand who's what, what's where.